Hello and welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. My name's Addie and today we are back with another speed build. We are building or rebuilding, I guess, the land grab house or mansion. So we are starting off with the shell of the build now, and this actually came together pretty smoothly. Um, it ends up being like really tall, like really tall. The first floor is ends up being um the tallest wall height, so tall wall height. And then the medium or the middle floor and the top floor end up being medium wall height. So it's like really tall. And then we also have, which I don't get to in this build, this video. This one is mostly just about laying it out. And then we do end up getting through the first and second floors. Although we do not furnish that wing off to the side, that ends up being like a live-in like a live-in employee, kind of like a butler's suite, but like more than the butler lives there. I imagine like they would have a live-in chef and like um a live-in maid and then the butler. And I know that the butler would do cleaning and cooking. But I feel like they would have one of each. That way, if like one of them gets sick or one of them can't like or there's more than one person can do, then like they have a workforce that's like fully staffed. So the person that is doing that doesn't have to work overtime. Because as much as the land grabs, I feel like are definitely not the kind of people to necessarily care about their employees, sort of like corporate mindset. I definitely feel like they at least care about the people in their house, right? So, like the people that they rely on for like day to day things like food and cleaning, they would care about. Um, and these land grabs are, um, they get kind of a tragic like a tragic past. So we all know Nancy land grab, right? Like she's the iconic lady who walks around with like unrealistic body proportions and the white top and like blonde hair. Yeah, we all know her. We all either love or hate her. But in this version, she's still like kind of a bad person, you know? She's just maybe and like they still come from generational wealth. Like there's not really a they worked their way up from the bottom. There is none of that. Okay, both Nancy and Jeffrey were born into wealth. Like there's no changing that. It's sort of baked into the lore of The Sims, but I felt like they can have a little bit of a tragic past, okay? So basically, and this is, you will see this a little bit better later, but basically, what I imagine is that Nancy really wanted a daughter, right? Like she desperately wanted a daughter. And obviously, the Landgrabs don't have daughters. They only have Malcolm Landgrab, and then they have Johnny Zest in this version. And so they yeah, so they don't have daughters, right? But Nancy, in my mind, really wanted a daughter. And so they have like this cute, um, they have the like this cute um like nursery kind of room on the second floor where it's like it's a nursery, you know? And they've got like all the stuff that you need for a baby. It's just that there's there's no baby. Um and so yeah, kind of tragic. Like she had these kids and she so desperately wanted a little girl and then she just didn't get one. Um Anyway, so kind of tragic for her, but I mean, what are you gonna do? So I'm going through and working on the floor plan now. I finally finished like the layout of the outside. Um, and I don't know if I mentioned this, but because I've started this thing like 40 times now. Um, but this will end up being a multi-part series. I'm not really sure how many parts we'll need, but it's multi-part. We don't finish the whole thing. Looking at some cute windows right now. Anyway, so we have I was having a lot of fun messing around with like the tall wall heights because I never build with tall wall height. Oh God, I'm sorry. It's like 9 a.m., 9 p.m. when I'm starting this. It's past my bedtime. I have to, and I don't know. I got a lot of shit to do tomorrow. Anyway, so um we are kind of going through and doing the outside a little bit, and then I go through and I do paint the ceilings. I don't like that it changes color, but what can you do? It is The Sims 4. And I'm going through and like changing. Oh my God, I am yawning so much. I am so sorry. Um, Changing some of the textures. I didn't want the whole thing to be just like plain white. So what I end up doing is just doing all white. The the goth, I have this I don't know, this concept in my head where the goths and the land grabs are like complete opposites of each other. Yes, they're both very wealthy, but the goths give me like Adam's family vibes, where they're like very loving, very supportive people of like them and their children and their spouses. And so they live on this massive lot, but they don't actually, and like they're rich and famous and stuff, but in my head it's more like Adam's family vibes, where it's like, yes, be unique, be yourself, be everything that you want to be. And the land grabs are canonly in The Sims 4 much more like, no, you must be who I think you are. And so basically they don't get along. Like they don't get along. And also the Goth family, which I have done their house. So if you want to see that, I could link it in the description if I remember. Um, but yeah, so the land grabs are like taking up all the land and buying all these properties and like owning all this stuff, and the goths are well off, right? And so they just have like their house. They maybe have a summer home, maybe in like, I don't know, Brindleton Bay. They give me, I would like to live in a summer home in Brindleton Bay kind of vibes. Which, if you would like to see like a goth family summer home in Brindleton Bay, let me know. I'd be totally down to build that. Anyway, we are working on the floor plan, like I mentioned. We end up having less rooms than I wanted to have. Um, solely because the rooms are just massive. If I had broken it up more, I'm sure that we could have had the rooms that I wanted to have. Um, and also, they probably have a basement, so I could definitely add them down there. But anyway, we are on the second floor now, or the middle floor, and we have three bedrooms because again, I imagined that Nancy really, really wanted a daughter. Um, and so she like had three rooms and everything was like custom made and like not necessarily custom made, but like they completely renovated this build or this house to fit their dreams of having three kids. And then they just didn't have kids. Like they didn't have three kids. They only ended up having two. Um, and frankly, that's kind of sad. Like if you want three kids, have three kids. Anyway, so we have two bathrooms, three bedrooms, and then upstairs we end up having like the top floor, we end up having we have like a bedroom and then two bathrooms. And I experimented with a light a little bit. End up getting rid of that. It's gross. But we're playing around with lighting. I wanted it to be kind of modern, and we don't really have that. So, um, I end up getting rid of these in the end, and then I'm going around and putting lights because frankly, this build needs lights. It is so big. It is so hard to furnish. By the end of it, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. Um, and then I did think that Nancy secretly likes pink. And Jeffrey doesn't really have like a say in very much, with the exception of like the servants areas because she doesn't care about those. But any place that like she would go into, she wants to have it to her tastes. So we end up having this area that I'm flooring now, um, ends up being where like the live-in, I guess they would be servants work. So like the butler, the maid, the chef, all of them. And which I guess you would need. I don't think you can hire a chef. That should be something that you can hire. Anyway, so we have this and it is white. It is very, very white in here. And we are gonna go. It's very like simply decorated, very, very expensive. I don't even know how much it costs by the end of this video, but it definitely costs a lot of money. And then we have so I just put flooring and walls in the servants areas, and I imagined that that area um was like cheaper, so Nancy had like very fancy marble floors put in and all that stuff. And then in the like servants quarters there's just some stuff, you know. It's whatever Jeffrey wanted. And he was like, well, it's kind of cold out there. So I think having like wood and like a slightly cheaper, older looking, I don't know, it's kind of charming to have like the slightly older looking floors and stuff. Anyway, so we have a couple of things going on right now. I am putting in some windows in places, and then I am putting in um I'm going to be putting in a we're going to be starting in the living room after I windows in where they need to go. Um, and I lo- I I think I probably should have split up the um what is it called? The like formal sitting room because they don't have an informal sitting room. I guess I could put one in the basement, which I didn't show adding here, but I think I will be adding a basement solely. I don't know how we would access it, but anyway, that's a problem for future me. So so we're going through and we're like putting all the flooring and the wallpapers in. Um, and we are only 20 minutes into the video. Most of the time I'm like, yeah, bye. Have a good whatever time it is. Um, and here I'm like, yep, so we're just starting out. And I ended up deciding to use whatever I wanted. So we have CC, we have a shit ton of packs, we have everything in here. And I will try to remember to put the um to link the video for my CC video that I did like a long time ago when I downloaded everything. Um I will make sure to link that in the description below. So that has all of the everything that you could ever want to download that I've downloaded. Um, and we are finally on to furnishing now. And then, let's see. Yeah, so we are finally on to furnishing now. And I am starting with the formal living space. I think I want to add like I wanted a spa and a gym and all this stuff. And so I think we'll probably work that into the floor plan. But for right now, we have a 4 bedroom, shit ton bathroom house. Um, I'm not even gonna try to count how many bathrooms we have because we have at least 2 on each floor. And we have at least 2 in the servants area, and then we have like a pool boy, and so that's like an apartment all by itself, which you could rent out. Like you could totally with like get for rent, which I don't like the name. I was gonna say get renting, which is almost worse in a way. But with that pack, you could totally rent out like the butler's suite and the pool house and stuff for like tenants. But I kind of liked the story of like them having like people that worked there at the like live in that area. And obviously if you have tenants, then they wouldn't be working for you. So yeah, so anyway, I did not do that, but we are using these custom content curtains, which I love. And I never use them because I always feel like I should try to not use CC so that it's more downloadable, by most people. But like, to be honest, I have never watched a video on YouTube and been like, let me go download that from the gallery. So to me it's more of like a I'm watching this more for entertainment sort of deal rather than like I want to find builds to put in my own game because I build my own builds to put in my own game. So I don't really, yeah, so and I was like, it's a massive house, I'm gonna use whatever I want. So this is predominantly furnished with the wedding pack, um, predominantly furnished with the Modern Luxe kit, the maximalist kit, which I don't even remember what it's called. And then also there is some vampires going into this build, although that is not as prominent. And then there is custom content, curtains and doors thus far. Um, so we have a lot. And like I said, I might end up furnishing this differently. This is just sort of what I was doing originally, but looking back at it, I might change it a little bit. And instead of having like a card table, maybe having like, maybe like rearranging it to be a little bit more like ballroom vibes. I feel like if anyone is going to have a ballroom, it's going to be Nancy Landgraab. You know what I mean? So we might end up doing that. I'm not sure. Um, and then I did leave in the bathrooms. I know that a lot of people cut out the bathrooms, but I like furnishing bathrooms, contrary to popular opinion. I don't mind them. So I left them in. They're all kind of the same, but I don't know. I like it. And again, there's a lot of pink accents because I felt like Nancy would like pink. You know, not necessarily in like a hot pink kind of way, but in like a tasteful pink sort of, I don't know. I don't know. It's late. I'm trying. So we have some pink accents going on in here. And then we have yeah, so we end up having this, and then I work on the entry area, and we do end up getting windows, don't worry. Here they are. Um, because I felt like no windows was a little bit scary. But this area is quite simple. Um, and I really wanted these flowers, but I just felt like they were too wedding-y, if that makes sense. So I get rid of them, and then I replace them with the dine out ones. I did think of a couple other ones, but we do these in the end, and I kind of like them, to be completely honest. And then we change out this light to be the um what is it called? Spa day light, which I love. I think it's gorgeous. And then we have a couple of chairs. Hopefully your Sims won't try to sit in them, although knowing the Sims, they probably would. And then we get a couple of what are they called? Not windows, mirrors, which look like windows because they're so big. And then we get this plant, which I was going to use by the exit or you know what I mean. And I decided not to. And then we get the other spa day chandeliers because they are stunning. And we are in the dining room, if I didn't mention that, which I don't think I did. So we have that in here, and I end up getting a table, we get a really long table, and then we have like a gallery wall. We get um, another fireplace. We change all the chairs to pink because why not? And we get a buffet table at the end, over in the corner by the windows, which is to the left of the fireplace. So we it's very white in here, which was making it really hard to furnish because I could not see anything for the life of me. So I end up furnishing most of this at night just so that I can see in a reasonable lighting, even though the walls are like massive and like reflecting all of the light, and I despise it. And then this is the gallery wall. I try a couple of things and then I'm like, you know what? We're just gonna do a gallery wall, and anyone who doesn't like it can suck it up. Um, yeah, so these are my attempts. I realized during this build that we don't have a lot of like framed modern art, like big framed modern art. So it was at this point that I was like, you know what? We're just gonna do a gallery wall of stuff. And surprisingly, the um paranormal gallery wall goes really well with the maximalist kit gallery wall. And I kind of like them together, to be honest with you. So I did end up going through and adding pictures of Jerry, although these are ladies and not Jerry. Although I have met a female Jerry, and that was kind of off-putting. Um, her name wasn't like her, she just went by Jerry. Her name wasn't Jerry. Anyway, so we put them in, and I really like how this wall turned out. I didn't think I would, but honestly, it's kind of a vibe. And I discovered this. It's like a thingy. I don't know. It's like an arch, but not an arch, not like a wedding arch that came with wedding stories. Kind of cool, kind of pretty. Um, and then there's like a plain one that is yeah, anyway, so that ends up going here. And then I put a couple of them and a bed underneath, even though I don't know if you could use the bed, but it doesn't matter. It looks cool. So then we pop back downstairs, and this is when I'm putting in um like plants to make it look less the same, less white. Because white is pretty, but in this amount, it feels very much. It feels very much. So this is a bathroom off of the kitchen, and I actually end up having two kitchens, which might sound really chaotic, but we needed two. We needed a way. I was not about to be putting like 40 billion um whatchamacallits counters. So we didn't. So that's what I'm doing right now. I am doing the what I would imagine was the um like staff kitchen, so like they cook their food in here. And then they walk like through a hallway to get like to their dining room and living room and stuff. And then we have like the formal kitchen that they make the family's meals at. Don't think that's realistic, but it's Nancy Landgraab. Do you think she really cares what kitchen? Probably. I mean, she's literally like a criminal mastermind for her job. I don't know. She seems like the kind of person that would care. So, anyway, we have two kitchens. One is less fancy and one is more fancy. And you will quickly see which one is more fancy and which one is less fancy. Um, we have doubles of everything in terms of like, you know, fridges, stoves, everything. We also have this like storage area, which I would imagine is like a pantry. And then we end up getting a lot of things. Some snacks, because I imagined that this was like right before Johnny got kicked out. Um, so and also another thing, I imagine that Johnny Zest's real name is actually Jonathan Landgrab, but he goes by Johnny Zest as a stage name, and then once he got kicked out, probably changed his name legally to Johnny Zest. I wish you could have like a legal name and then like a nickname that they went by, or like an alias that they went by, because I feel like that's super common. Like I feel like unless it's a like a medical record or like some other sort of legal document that you probably would use a nickname instead of your real name, you know? Anyway, we are finished pretty much with the um kitchen, and we are moving on to this, which was originally going to be like an informal sitting room, but I think I'll put that in the basement. And then we're going to be putting a lot in the basement. And then this ends up being a study, which Jeffrey got the most say in. So there are a shit ton of books. I felt like Nancy was probably not too much into books, but I feel like Jeffrey and Nancy don't get along very well. Not necessarily to say that they fight, but that just that they don't get along very well. You know what I mean? Um, so this is like Jeffrey's space. And then we have like a personal massage room. Not quite a spa, although you could probably class it as a spa. Anyway, we have got one of those for Nancy. Um, and Jeffrey, I feel like definitely prefers more of like a traditional style. And so we get more of that in here. And there are, when I say there are a shit ton of books, I mean there's a shit ton of books. Like I would love to have this much space for books. Um, One of my friends was like, "We need to build your book collection." Babe, I don't have enough bookshelves for that right now. Unless you plan on gifting me bookshelves, which my current bookshelf isn't even full. So like I do have space for books, but the amount of books that I want to get is like so long. So long. I mean, I'm talking I want classics. I want queer books. I want like yeah. Yeah, no, I have a list that is like several dozen books long. And that's only one list. Like, that's not even all of my lists. So, because I have books where I'm like, okay, I really want these books because they're classics. I want this book because it's queer. I want that book because it's religious and queer. I want this book because it's, you know, because it's like an autobiography, and I want that book because it's you get it. Maybe you don't. If you don't read books, you won't get it. But if you read books, you understand. So I have a whole list, but I do not have enough space for my whole list. So I just have to pick. And right now, I'm kind of leaning towards starting with building my classics collection. Um when I say classics, I don't necessarily mean like the Iliad. I mean like To Kill a Mockingbird, Fahrenheit 435, or whatever the fuck it is. It's Fahrenheit something. And Five People You Meet in Heaven, Tuesdays with Maury, um, like those sorts of books that all of that like you read in high school, Lord of the Flies, that like you read in high school and then you never touch again. I want to have those books because I want to reread those books. Um, and also those books are slowly becoming more and more controversial, which I don't understand. Like, how is Uncle Tom's Cabin or like Adventures of Huckleberry Finn controversial? That I will never get, but I mean, like, to each their own, I guess. Um, anyway, I want to buy them. The problem is that books are expensive, and also, um, books, if you want to get a book, you really need to spend like, especially if you want to get like a specific kind of book, you need to spend time to look for it, and I don't have that time right now. What I would really love is to be able to work from home, have a flexible schedule. That's what I need. Like mentally, that's what I need, mentally and physically. Um, but I don't have the financial anythings for that right now. So we're just sort of pushing through. Anyway, I talked over the landing, and we are now in the um, nursery, which, like I said, is for a little girl. I imagined that Nancy really, really wanted a little girl, and she just didn't get a little girl. Don't know why. They could totally adopt or whatever, but she didn't get a little girl, and so. Or maybe she wanted boys and then she wanted a girl and she just never got pregnant. I don't know. I don't really care. I kind of like the vibes of having like Nancy be like, I want to have a nursery and why want a little girl? And they just didn't ever fill it. So we have a few things in here. We have all her needs, and then we have it's sort of like like newborn infant toddler. So this crib can be converted into a toddler bed. And then also we have like some toys that the infant and toddler can play with. The newborn is attached to the bassinet, but I don't really mind that since newborns are kind of attached to a bassinet or a crib. But we have that, and then we have um, so we have some toys and some areas for the toddler to play. We have the fireplace blocked off, which is kind of good for a toddler and like a young child. Um, and then we have the bathroom. This is Jack and Jill with Johnny's room. And I decided to decorate the bathroom as if it was Johnny's bathroom because frankly, if he's a teenager, I imagined he was like 17, 18, like 17 or 18, about to graduate high school. And so he is like this bathroom is his bathroom, right? Maybe they'll have a baby in the future, but this is his bathroom for right now. And so he's got like it's mostly green. I felt like his vibe was green because when I decorated them or redid them or whatever, um it was very like he wore a green suit for his everyday. So I kind of wanted to carry that into his bedroom at this house. And it ends up being like blue and green. So there's like a light blue and then the like sagey dark green vibe going on. And I really like his room. I felt like it fit, you know? Um, so we have, like I said, a lot of blues and greens in here. We've got a lot of different skills. I imagined that Johnny was kind of like a jack of all trades kind of guy before he settled on comedy. Um, so we've got some books, but not a lot. I did imagine that Malcolm was a little bit more into reading. Not because he's like isolated, misunderstood teenager, but because he just likes books. You know, his books are definitely very different from the books that his father reads. His books, I imagined that Malcolm was much more like a secret manga kind of guy. Like he likes manga and reads manga but doesn't tell anyone. Whereas Johnny was more of like a I have books because my dad gave me books and I don't know what to do with them without seeming rude. Um, and again, these kids are in high school, so I did give Johnny the scouting board and a guitar, and then he's got like a couch and a TV and a microphone and a computer and a violin and I mean, you name it, he's probably got it. It's this is where I add um the buffet table. For some reason, that was really hard for my brain to think of. Anyway, so we're back up in Johnny's room, and I honestly feel like this is the most realistic that you can get with a rich family like the landgrabs kind of room. And so we've got a little bit of everything in here. Um, they both have TVs, and then these are his books. He's got some books, but it's definitely not a lot of books. Like it's like sparse. And so he is not starting his book collection. But all of my friends are like super big readers, and I used to be really big, and then life started happening, and now I don't have time to read. Um, when I was in high school, I used to read all the time, and like every spring break, I would read the same book because I had time. It's my favorite book. It's called Through Wolf's Eyes by Jane Lindskold, and it's about this girl, and she's like, I don't know, she's between like 16 and 18, and she is the lone survivor of a massive fire that burned her hometown. And so, these adventurers um go looking for this village to try to find the king's youngest son because his older kids died. Um and they find her instead. And they think that she is the king's granddaughter. She's not, spoilers, but she's not. I really like it. I really like it. There's a lot of stuff that happens, and there's a lot of like plots going on, but it starts off with just like A plot, B plot, and then it introduces like, and then those sort of merge into like A plot, and then she introduces another one, and it's, I don't know, it's just really good, really good, love it. Talked over Malcolm Johnny's room. We are going through and adding this wainscoting to his entire room because I felt like it needed something, and so we do that. And I decide to not put wainscoting on this side because it's not really conducive to doors. So we leave it be. And then I don't know what I'm doing right now, but we get a TV. And I do put two microphones because I felt like he would be the kind of guy that would be like into karaoke when he's like a teenager. So we have two. Not that he has a karaoke machine. He doesn't need a karaoke machine, but I did put a couple of microphones so they could like pretend to do karaoke. And then over here, we've got a couple of school projects and things that he probably should be doing but isn't. And like a, what's it called? The void critter thing. And then over here, I get a mirror because I felt like this was a good way for him to practice his charisma, and then a plant. And I get this, I get a coffee table from the Book Nook kit because it has books, and I feel like you should be able to sit on it. So I do that. And we get some more lights because it's kind of dark in here. And I did talk over the balcony. The balcony has a mixology table. That's not what it's called. It's called a bar, and like a card game table. So we have those out there. And then I did imagine that he like defiled the part, like the wall, by putting up some, what are they called? Posters and such. And then this is Malcolm's room. And Malcolm also gets the wainscoting because I tried to go for like a dark maximalist vibe for Malcolm. I don't know that I would quite say that I got what I wanted, but it is definitely an interesting sort of vibe in contrast with his brother's room. His brother's room is very like light and airy and refreshing, and his is like welcome to hell. Um, so we are going to be finishing that up, and then we will be ending the video after that. We also do his bathroom, which I did not personalize as much as Johnny's bathroom, so I'll probably be updating that as well. And I'll probably do that off camera. Um, but yeah, so this is Malcolm's room. I used a lot from the Maximalist kit. I don't even know what it's really called, but I'm calling it the Maximalist kit. And I had to squish everything a little bit because he's got like his own living room kind of vibe going on. And I really liked it. Um, it just means that we don't really have a lot of space. So we have quite a lot going on in here. I imagined that he definitely doesn't feel he Malcolm Landgrab sort of gives me like, oh God, sort of like Wednesday Addams vibes, but not caring. Like Wednesday Adam definitely is portrayed in all of the versions of the Addams family is portrayed as like caring very deeply about those close to her. Not Malcolm. Malcolm is like if you took Wednesday Addams and like subtracted any compassion or empathy that she might have for people, that's her, that's Malcolm. So, yeah, good for him, I guess. And we are adding his bookshelves. Again, I imagined that he was like kind of self-conscious about liking reading. So he hides them behind some book some behind some dividers. He's working on his book collection. He's hiding them behind some dividers, and then he hides that behind some curtains, and then he only entertains his friends in the living space of his bedroom. Um, and then I did imagine that he was into gemology, but like for evil doings. Um, and so I don't think that there is like evil doings with gemology. I think they only have benefits, no drawbacks, but we're going to pretend that he only cuts gems that have drawbacks. Anyway, so we are coming to the end of the video now. So if you liked this, if you would like and subscribe, that would really mean a lot. I'm just adding some last minute finishing details, and I will see all of you. I'm going to aim to finish this tonight so that I can do that, so that I can upload another video tomorrow. Otherwise, I will see you all on Saturday. Bye.